Hi, I'm Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech Home Inspections, and today we're going to talk about home inspection attendance. Who should be there and who should stay home. So I've been doing this home inspection thing for almost 3 decades now, and I've formed a lot of opinions about who ought to attend the home inspection and who shouldn't. However, the answers are not completely black and white. There's a lot of gray in all of this. So let's discuss the different parties who might attend the home inspection. You got the home buyer, the home seller, the buyer's agent, the seller's agent, and all of the extra people who might attend. So let's start with the most important person in the transaction. Of course, that's the home buyer. The home buyer should attend the home inspection if at all possible. I know there are extenuating circumstances where you got out-of-town buyers, or for some reason they can't make it to the home inspection. Okay, fine, but that should be the exception. Most of the time, the home buyers are expected to be there, and whether they should be there for the entire inspection, show up at the very beginning and leave at the end, or they show up near the end of the inspection, it should really be up to the home inspector. Whatever the home inspector's preference is, that is what's going to give the home buyer the most value out of their home inspection. Most home inspection companies have the buyer show up at the very end, but I don't think there's a right and wrong way to do it. So that's the home buyer. Next is the home seller. Should the seller be there? No. Whatever you can do, if you're a home seller, get out of your house. You are not going to be doing favors to anybody by being there, especially when the buyer's there. I know you want to be helpful. I know you want to point stuff out, but there's going to be a lot of stuff pointed out with your home that you're not going to like hearing. And if your goal is to sell your house, the best thing you can do to help your house sell is get out of there. Let the salespeople sell your house. You don't need to do that. Now, of course, there's always exceptions. I've been in situations where sellers were extremely helpful and they stayed out of the way. I've been at houses where you had the home seller who was working from home and they promised to lock themselves in their office and they wouldn't be a bother, and they weren't. It worked fine. So like I said, there's always exceptions, but with all things being equal, it's best for the seller to get out. Now, how about the buyer's agent? Should they come to the inspection? Now, this is a tough one. I'd say it depends on what their intention is. If the buyer's agent is there because they want to help their client, they want to hold their client's hand, they want to take notes, they want to hear everything firsthand, they want to write a better purchase agreement amendment, potentially, depending on what comes up during the inspection, by all means, come. Not only that, what if they want to learn? If you've got a newer agent, the rookie agent, they want to learn more about houses, it is a fantastic learning experience. If I were a new agent, I would want to come to every home inspection I possibly could, and I would soak up everything I could about houses. That's one side of the coin. Now the other side, if the agent is there because they want to ensure the deal goes through, if all they're concerned about is their own pocketbook and they want to see that commission check, they should not come to the home inspection. And I've seen these agents many times. They are there to make sure that nothing is a big deal. Whatever the home inspector brings up, they try to minimize, they talk it down, they say, oh, that's not a big deal. Oh, home inspectors bring that up all the time and it never matters. And they've got these little comments for everything we say, just minimizing it. Or we're not their preferred home inspector and they want to look over our shoulder and, oh, well, my regular inspector doesn't do this, my regular inspector doesn't do that, and oh, in all my years as an agent, I've never heard a home inspector say, fill in the blank. If the agent is there to do that, I'd say it's best for them to stay home. They're not going to be doing any favors to their client, and they could be putting themselves in a position to be sued. If you want the long story, you can check out my blog post on this or the podcast that Tessa and I recorded about a week ago. We did a long form version of who should come to the inspection and who shouldn't. So for the buyer's agent, it depends. Now for the seller's agent, the listing agent, should they be at the inspection? I'd say 99% of the time, no. They have no business being there, and they probably don't want to hear anything that's going on during the inspection because they don't want to have to disclose anything in the future should the deal not go through. But like I said, there's always exceptions. Sometimes when you have a really big house, you have some special circumstances, maybe they might want to show up at the beginning to let everybody into the home, to give a quick little tour, maybe introduce the home inspector to the caretaker. If it's a especially large house, there are extenuating circumstances, but most of the time, the seller's agent should not be at the inspection whatsoever. And then the last one would be everybody else involved. And we're talking about little kids, we're talking about coworkers, family members, contractors, all of these other people who make appearances at the inspection. All things being equal, none of them should be there. I've got horror stories about kids showing up, about family members messing stuff up, about coworkers getting in the way. I've had contractors with major attitudes who were offended that they weren't the home inspector. None of these people are doing a favor to the home buyer. They are making sure that the home buyer cannot focus on the home inspection, and they're making it so about half of what the home inspector is saying is sinking in. The other time, they're devoting their energy towards the other people who are at the inspection. So like I said, all things being equal, it should just be the home buyer there. Of course, there are extenuating circumstances. There are always exceptions to this rule, but the best thing is to just have the buyer there. So that covers home inspection attendance. Like I said, we recently recorded a podcast on this. If you'd like to hear a 50-minute discussion on this, where we really dig into the ins and outs of home inspection attendance and we get into some good horror stories, check out our podcast. We also do a video version of the podcast right here on YouTube, and you can find it by going to our channel. Okay, I'm Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech Home Inspections. Thanks for watching. Take care.